Yo, what's up everyone? I'm here. I am live. AZ, how you doing, brother? Thanks for joining. Wendy, hope you're doing well, fam. Jimbo, hope all is well. Harvey, what are you doing on here, brother? Go and get some rest. You're not well. You're not well, brother. Remember our promise? I'll only go live if you promise to go and rest. Everyone, I just wanted to yeah, there it is there, what Harvey's talking about there, because, Harvey was going to come on, he's going to come on today, but he's not well, and Harvey's health is more important. You know what I mean? His health is more important than, jumping on here and chopping it up, with me and the A.P.S Fam. And he wanted me to let everyone know that he's sorry that he couldn't come on. But I just want Harvey to get well. You know what I mean? Sorry, y'all. Angie I just had a call from Angie. But yeah, hang on, let me do something. Put this on Do Not Disturb. There we go. So yeah, Harvey's not well, fam. Harvey's not well, so I just wanted to let you guys know that, okay? You know what I mean? So let's start this live again. Because there's just people jumping in now. So let's get this cracking. How you all doing? Hope everyone's doing well. No, Harv, don't blame yourself, brother. It's not because of you. There he is, AC. I've been worried about you. Just hello. Going through a lot right. I know you're going through a lot right now, AC. Please don't ever forget that I and the A.P.S Fam are here for you, okay, my brother? I love you very much. I love you very much. I love Miko very much. Just never forget that. I'm here for you always. There she is. Hey, Angie. How are you, darling? Jimbo. Rest and feel well soon, Harv. Yeah, that's right. Nice intro, Adam. I like it. Thanks, Jimbo. Gangish made that for me. He did. Hey, Lonnie. How you doing, Lonnie? Hope all is well. I hope all is well with you, brother. Jimbo, swallowing makes you feel... Oh, Lonnie, fuck you, come out with some funny shit, bro. Oh, fucking hell. I just wanted to... I want to mention real quick, okay? This is the only time that I'm gonna. Hey Wesley, how you doing, bro? I'm gonna mention something real quick because I've had a lot of people in my Instagram. A lot of people have been DMing me, sending me fucking text messages after text messages, saying, "Oh look, can you do a video and talk about what happened to Savage Studios?" Right? Hi, Kathy. can you make a video talking about what happened to Savage Studios, about him getting killed? And I said, no, I'm not going to make a video about that. And he says, why? You know, everyone else is doing it, you know, and you'll get tons of views. You know, and I said, I don't give a fuck about the views, you know, I don't care about that. You know, and I said, look, I said, I've never liked the guy. I've never liked the guy, you know what I mean? And I've never, you know, liked what he stood for, but, you know, that's beyond the point. One thing that I've never done, and I'm not going to start doing now, is speaking ill of the dead. I'm not going to start disrespecting the dead. You know, the man lost his life. You know what I mean? The man lost his life. So, and that's that, you know, like, I'm not in that life anymore. You know what I mean? I'm not a gang member, so it's not for me to speak on, and I don't have the right to speak on it because I'm not a gang member. You know, and all the people saying that people in Australia would like to hear my opinion on it, and I'm like, dude, you're fucking crazy, because a lot of people in Australia wouldn't even know who the dude is, let alone care. So that's the last time I'm speaking about it. Fucking Lonnie, yeah, I know, he's funny, isn't he? The shit that comes out of your mouth, Lonnie, I think you're smoking too much weed, brother. Oh, fucking hell. Look at Gangish with the fucking tacos fucking emojis. How you doing, Gangish? Hope you're doing well. There's Steve with the eye emojis. Yes, that's right, Jimbo. It is. And I'm not going to start doing that now, you know. And but guys, you're doing good. That's good. Gangish, about a week ago now, I sent a message in our group, you know, in our group, brother, because I had a lot of research, right? I spent like a week and a half doing this fucking research and I had everything together, right, about, you know, the history videos about Australia's convict history. I had all that fucking ready to go. I saved it in a file, right? I saved it in a file. I made a file up and saved it. I thought I saved it in Google Drive, but I can't fucking find it anywhere. I gave up trying because I was just losing my shit, and I was about to smash the fucking thing, you know, smash my phone. Not Miko, because I wouldn't never do that. So I'm doing all the research again because I can't find it. So I'm doing all the research again, and this time I'm not going to save it in my phone. I've just got everything written down, you know, and I don't smoke weed. Just imagine if I did. No. You're fucking off tap now, Lonnie. God, the last thing we need you is smoking weed, brother. That's the last thing we need then. Fucking hell, that's fucking funny. Damn, I can't get used to your post. It says, I think it's my tomorrow. Yeah. I know, country. I'm sorry, but for now on, I'll just title it, you know, fucking A.P.S Livestream. That's what I'll title my lives as for now on. I'll just put A.P.S Livestream, you know. So hopefully that'll save all confusion. Throws me off too. It's most likely on in Google Drive. Yeah, I don't know, Gangish. Like I said, I lost my shit. You know, I gave up because I was losing my shit and I couldn't find it anywhere. I got no patience. I'm not tech savvy, so I mean, I'm still learning this shit. I've been watching drag racing that's in Australia, the top few dragsters, but half the side. Hey, country, I tell you what, bro, the top few dragsters, bro, they're awesome. And you know something? I wasn't going to say anything, but I've been talking to Dave, you know, who's a part of Chino's channel, Keeping It 100, you know, and what I'm going to do, as soon as the next race starts, as soon as the next V8 Supercars race starts, I'm going to go and film it. And I'm going to put that on my channel so you guys can, you know, check out the V8 supercars. And yeah, I want to go and do some drag races too, you know, go and film them too. And the other thing, no big deal, I'm just tired. Country, you're awesome, brother. And the other thing I've got planned too, guys, I know a lot of you like to see, you know, the city that I live in, you know what I mean? Because with that day when I was doing the live with Sean, showing him, you know, the supermarket, the shops, you know what I mean? You know, places that, you know, where I live and shit like that. You guys love that. You know, so because I need a holiday too, you know, I need a holiday. It's, you know, I need a bit of a break, you know, from here. So I'm going to take a bit of a trip, you know, go away for a week. You know, I want to go on a camping trip, you know, because I love camping. I love being in the bush, you know what I mean? So I'm going to go on a camping trip as soon as I can get some funds together, and I'm going to be filming it. I'm going to be filming my journey, filming my camping trip and the places, you know, the towns that I go through, you know, the things that I see, because I'm sure the A.P.S Fam would get a kick out of that and enjoy it. I still lose stuff occasionally. I would recommend taking a look at early, putting on drive. Yeah, because when I made the follow-up gangish, right, because they asked me where I wanted to save it, right, and the bloody drive, Google Drive thing came up, and I put it in there, into the drive file, like in the drive section, and so I don't know what the fuck's happened to it. It's bloody weird. I beat the bush every night. Oh, fucking Lonnie. Trust you to say something like that, Lonnie. Oh, fucking hell. I've got to stop swearing so much. Kathy, how are you doing? Thank you, Kathy. Should be some nice weather coming soon, yeah. Kathy, you know, I'm not going to, you know, what we talk about is personal, you know, but all I'm going to say is, I hope you're okay. I hope you're okay. I worry that you're okay. You know what I mean? I love all the A.P.S family, and I worry about you guys, and I just want you guys to be okay. I want you guys to know that I'm here for you, and you can, you know, fucking, I'm here for you, and you can always talk to me. You know what I mean? But you know something? I was watching this news clip that came on last night, right? Now there was a massive raid, massive drug bust, right? There was a massive drug bust over the bloody last couple of days. There was a massive drug bust, and they got bloody 900 kilos, not kilos, 900. What was it? 900 kilograms of fucking cocaine, right? And bloody a whole heap of bloody pseudoephedrine, you know, and this fucking guy who was the ringleader, right? The ringleader of the whole thing, you know, he was like, you know, like he was like one of the toughest dudes, you know, or portrayed himself as one of the toughest dudes going around, saying that, you know, if the shit hits the fan, he's going to keep it 100, you know what I mean? And not bringing no one down with him, he's going to take the fucking rap. But you know what the cheeky cunt done? He bloody ended up going, turning informant, right? Became a snitch, gave everyone up, right? And now a lot of them guys, you know, looking at fucking life, you know, and this pewter cunt is going to bloody get a slap on the wrist, you know, and I guarantee you, I'm waiting for the news clip to come out that he's been bloody found dead, because the people that he snitched on, right? The people that he snitched on, you know, is a part of the Hells Angels, you know, and those fucking people do not play, you know what I mean? That's what happens, you know, like people keep on running their mouth. People run their mouth, and you know what I mean? And they always get themselves into trouble and get themselves fucking killed, you know, like if someone's going to be in that life, if someone's going to be in that life, right, and be out there running the streets, you know what I mean, selling drugs, you know what I mean, and if the day comes, because, you know, there's always going to be a day when, you know, the boys in blue, you know, the coppers are going to be busting down your door, you know what I mean? But, you know, if you're out there in the mix, you're selling drugs, doing all that shit, and when the shit hits the fan and you get busted, right, you know, one thing you should always do is man up, take responsibility for your actions, right? Man up, take responsibility for your action. You know what I mean? I'm not talking about snitching, but just go, look, you got me? You got me? Okay, fair enough. Plead guilty. You know what I mean? Plead guilty, you know, take your sentence, whatever that is, you know what I mean? And then go and do your time. You know what I mean? You don't need, you know what I mean? You don't need to be bringing no one down with you. You know, it's pretty funny, you know, I see it all the time that, you know, the people that think they're about that life, you know, and when the shit hits the fan, they crumble. You know what I mean? They fucking crumble. You know, they crumble under pressure. You know what I mean? It makes me laugh. It makes me laugh, and it's ridiculous. Yeah, country, it was a lot of cocaine, you know. It was a lot of cocaine, and you see, the bloody stupid bloody idiots, I mean, how can you not know, right? Because on the news clip, right, when he was talking to a dude on the phone, right, he kept on hearing like a tapping sound, right? He kept on hearing like a tapping sound, and that's what you hear when the phone's tapped, right? And they weren't fucking smart enough to realise that they were under surveillance, you know what I mean? The phones are tapped and shit, and they're bloody on the phone talking shit, you know, giving everything up, you know, and you can't be doing that, you know, and you got to be careful. It's, you know, the phone is the same as YouTube. You got to be careful what you say, because you never know who's listening or who's watching. You got to be very, very careful. Fentanyl took another friend of mine. You know something? Yesterday, they found a big box, right? They found a big box. How can I describe it? You know, in the army, they've got them big metal boxes, you know, for the ammunition. You know, the big metal boxes that, you know, they keep all the ammunition in. Well, the federal police here in Australia found one of those big metal fucking boxes, right? And they was dumped. They dumped it because I think, you know, they must have realised that, you know, they were hot, which means they were under surveillance. They knew the cops were watching them, so they dumped it. And, you know, when the cops come and looked at it and opened it up, it was full of fentanyl. It was chock-a-block full of fentanyl, and they called the federal police. The fucking federal police come, you know, and like it was chock-a-block full of fentanyl. And I am so glad, right? I'm so glad that the cops found that fentanyl, you know what I mean, and got that off the streets, you know what I mean, because, you know, that kills a lot of people, as you guys know, you know what I mean, and I'm especially thankful that the federal police found it, you know, that big fucking metal fucking box that's like an army ammunition box, before the kids did. Because if kids came across that box and they go, oh, yes, what's this? Let's try this and see what this does. You know, so I'm just glad that that didn't happen and they found it before anyone lost their life. Anyone else lost their life because of fucking fentanyl. Hi, Dashanka. Thank you for joining, brother. Yeah, that fentanyl is killing people. Marijuana, licensed fentanyl. Smoking pot and add on fentanyl. Oh, that's fucking silly. That's silly. I Lonnie. Damn, the chunk of that's sad. Yeah, it is sad, isn't it, Angie? Yeah, the chunk of the marijuana. You know something, guys? Just recently I went to Minda. I went to Minda Detention Centre. It's a juvenile detention centre. You know, I've done time in there when I was a kid many times, and you know, and even though that I wasn't feeling well and wasn't up to it, but I still kept my promise, and I went in there and I spoke to the kids. You know, I spoke to the kids, and what they did, they put me in a room. Right, I was in a room, and they brought in 10 kids, because what they did was, you know, like, instead of just like, you know, randomly just stuffing everyone in there, they asked the kids, you know, like they told them who I was, that I'm coming here to talk to them. Would you be interested to come and, you know, to listen to what I've got to say? And 10 of them said yeah, and they came in, and I spoke to the kids, you know, spoke to all the kids, you know, and they were listening. I could see they were listening. They were soaking everything in, you know, and that was pretty cool, you know, and it felt good to do that. And then, and I spoke to them, you know, for a while, like felt like hours that I was in there, but, you know, it was like about an hour I was in there. And then when I finished there, I went over to next door, to where the girls are, and, you know, I'd done the same thing in there and spoke to the girls there, you know, and you know what blew me away? You know what blew me away, A.P.S Fam? The boys and the girls, as they were walking out of the room, right, they shook me hand. They shook me hand, and they said, brother, thank you for coming. You know, thank you for coming. We appreciate it very much. And I'm like, wow, you know, that's amazing. I was not expecting that, you know. Thanks, country. Yeah, it is. Thanks, Ange. I just want to help the kids. I want to. Hey, Rick, thanks for joining, bro. I want to do all I can to help the kids, you know, because the kids are our future. The kids are our future, you know, and I tell you what kids really need, you know what I mean? One thing that the kids need, because I never had this when I was a kid, they need guidance, right? The kids need guidance, and they need someone, right? They need to know that someone that, you know, that they can rely on, someone that they can trust, you know what I mean? To have that person there to guide them in the right direction, and, you know, and not the I can't even say the word. Not even like crucify them. You know, don't crucify them. Don't judge them. You know what I mean? Don't fucking, you know, throw them in the fucking in the lockup and thinking that's the answer. They need someone, right, to sit down and talk to them one on one, so they can understand what they're doing. You know, they need guidance, because a lot of them haven't had a father in their life. I know what that's like, and they haven't been taught any of those things. You an ex-con? Yes, I am an ex-con. The real Cynthia. I've never seen you here before, but welcome to the channel. Yes, I am an ex-con. My name's Adam. I'm from Sydney, Australia. I spent 17 and a half years of my life in and out of prison, and that was all in maximum security prisons. And I was in a prison called Goulburn, which back in the 90s it was called the Killing Fields. 12 of those years were spent on heroin. You know, and I've got my channel, you know, because my channel is about positivity, reaching out and helping others, and helping mainly the kiddos. I want to help the kids and try, you know, to prevent them making the same mistakes I did. You know what I mean? So yeah, I am an ex-con, and that's who I am, allegedly. Rick loves that word, allegedly. He's got me saying that now, allegedly. Yeah, that's right. A lot of like Country just said, Cynthia, most of us on here are ex-cons. There she is, Jackie. I haven't seen Jackie for a while. I hope you're doing well, Jackie. They expunge my never. Hey, Frank. Thanks for joining, brother. Hope you're doing well. Congrats on the 2,000 subscribers. I knew you would blow up. I love seeing people that I rock with and people, you know, that I mess with doing really well. It makes me happy. Yeah, I understand what you mean, Gangish. You'll be a great mentor for them. Thank you, Kathy. Yeah, so, you know, and you Stone casking is gonna keep you. Fucking hell. You're killing it, Adam. I don't know about that, gangish, but thank you, bro. I'm just catching up over these comments, and then I'll get back to what I was saying about the kids. New Age Plug, how you doing? Thanks for dropping in. I love watching your videos with my 13-year-old son. Thank you, Jackie. Yes, well, that's what I'm about, helping the kids, you know. And you see, look, you know, Jackie's watching with a 13-year-old son, so I'm going to, watch my language. But look, I was 12 years old when I hit the streets. When I hit the streets, right, I was 12 years old, and I shot up. My first shot of heroin was when I was 12 years old, right? And look, a lot of my childhood came into play. That was, a big reason as to why my life turned out like it did, but if I just had somebody, pull me aside and to give me guidance, you know what I mean, to give me guidance, and somebody that I could confide in, somebody that I could trust, you know what I mean, somebody I could lean on, things would be very, very different, Come to the will. You can draw if you allegedly do something. Postman substitute, Frankie. Yeah, that's what's up, Frank. Just catching up on these comments, fam, because I like to answer these comments. Cynthia, if you have any questions or anyone else, please ask. Yeah, that's right, Cynthia. If you got any questions about me or anyone else, a lot of these people that you see in the chat here, Cynthia, a lot of them are YouTube creators like myself. Please go and subscribe to them, like and share and all that good stuff. You guys are going to have me soon. Allegedly. I know, right? And you know what? And the last kid, that shook my hand, and, before he walked out, he said to me, he asked me, he's gone, look, I want to ask you something, Adam. And I said, yeah, by all means, buddy, go ahead, And he goes, would you mind if I get your phone number? If I get your phone number so I can call you? And I said, not at all, buddy. I said, I'm fine with that. You can call me up, and it's like his name's Lachlan. His name's Lachlan. He's 15 years old, and I see a lot of myself in him. I see a lot of myself in him, and he's got my phone number now. He's got my phone number now, and he calls me up, and he calls me up and he talks to me about things, and I can't talk about what we talked about on the phone because that's between me and him, and because I promised him whatever we talk about stays between me and him, and he trusts me, and he looks up to me, and he was talking, one thing that he said that I can't talk about because he knows about my YouTube channel, because I told him why I've got a YouTube channel, and one thing that he said that he doesn't mind that I talk about, is like I was saying before, if I had guidance, someone to guide me in the right direction, you know what I mean, things would have turned out very differently. And that's what Lachlan said to me. He said, look, if I had someone to guide me and someone, to pull me aside and to talk to me, I wouldn't be here where I am now. He's a good kid. He's a good kid. He's a really good kid, and my heart goes out to him, and I want to do whatever I can to help him and other kids. Hey, Trigger, thanks for joining. Just a sec, fam. I'm just catching up on those comments. That's what it's all about right there, Adam. Your experience can help someone or makes it work. Yes, that's right. And you know what one of the kids asked me? One of the kids asked me, they said, if somebody is in your face disrespecting you, how should I handle that? Should I just go ahead and hurt that person, right? And I said, no, buddy. I said, you can't think like that, And I said, look, You know, the trouble with the world today, that a lot of people don't respect each other. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that disrespect each other, especially behind the wall, especially in lockup, whether that's juvenile or prison. You know, you'll get that all the time, you know. And I said, but you can't do that. And I said, I know in the heat of the moment, you know, when you're angry, you know, you think that's the only solution, you know. And he said to me, he goes, if you could do it like, if you were in my shoes now, how would you handle it, you know? Because I could think clearly, think differently. He goes, what things would you do differently? And you know, I said to him, I said, you know what you do when someone's in your face and they're going like that? You know what you do, bro? He said, what's that? He goes, I said, walk away. He goes, but I can't do that. And I said, why can't you do that? Because it makes me look weak. It makes me look weak in front of the others. And I said, no, no, no. I said, you are more of a man if you walk away. You know, and the only time that you should, you know, resort to fighting, you know, if someone hits you first, right, then you have the right to defend yourself. You know what I mean? But violence is not the answer. You know, everything that happens in life, you can't deal with that, you know. You can't solve that problem with violence, because that doesn't make the solution, you know. It doesn't help the solution, it makes it a lot worse, you know. And you know, and don't think, you know, all the people that, you know, say that they're your friends and they're there for you and they've always got your back. No, they haven't, you know. The only person they care about is themselves, you know. And I said to him, I said, look, give me an example. I said, give me an example. Tell me the times when something's happened here, right? Something's happened here, and the people that you say are your friends, were they there to back you up each time that something happened? And he thought about it, and he's going, well, actually, no, they weren't. They were nowhere to be seen. And I said, that's how it is, bro. You know, they only care about themselves, you know. And I said, look, how many other times have they told you to go and do something to someone, you know, that they've had a problem with, you know, and to get you to deal with it instead of them? And he goes, a lot of times. And I said, yes, because they don't care what happens to you, bro. They're not your friend, you know. They don't give a shit about you. You know, if you lost your life, they wouldn't care. They would just, you know, get some other person and pretend that, you know, they love him and all that crazy stuff they talk about. And I said, look, brother, and I said, you know what a real friend is? A real friend is somebody that doesn't, you know, say, look, here's some drugs, or here's a shank, you know, here's a shank, or, you know, here's a gun or whatever, go and take care of this person. No, no, no. You know, a real friend is somebody that loves you, right, cares about you, and is there for you, and have always got your best interest, right, at heart, and they wouldn't even, you know, offer you a cigarette, right, because that's what a real friend does. And a real friend is always there for them when they need them. You know what I mean? And you've got to realise that, you know, I know that, you know, because you're young, and, you know, you think it's cool, you know, what you're doing, using drugs and doing crime. And I said, no, buddy, it doesn't make you cool. None of that makes you cool. You know what I mean? You know what makes people look up to you? He said, what's that? I said, stay in school, get a good education. Get a good education, you're right, you leave school, you get a good job, you know what I mean? You find a good woman, you get married, you settle down, you know what I mean? And you know, you can start your own business or whatever. That's what makes you cool. That's what makes people look up to you, you know? And people that go out, you know, and you know, hurt people and do crime and use drugs and go to prison. None of that makes you cool. None of that makes you a badass, you know. And he turned around and said to me, he goes, oh, but you did it, you know. You went out there and done armed robberies. You know, you stabbed people in prison. You hurt people in prison. I said, yes. I said, that's right, buddy. But I'm not proud of it. I'm not proud of that. You know, I did what I had to do because I didn't know better, because I didn't have no one to guide me and, you know, and to let me know that that's not the answer. You can't solve things with violence. You cannot do that. It takes a while to realise. You know what I mean? But look, I'm not proud. I am not proud of all the things that I've done. I'm not proud of it. I'm ashamed of it. I'm ashamed of being in prison, wasted, 18 years of my life in and out of prison. I am not proud of it. I'm ashamed of it. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't make me cool. It doesn't make me a badass. It just makes me look like an idiot. Because a real man, takes responsibility, for his actions, and does the right thing by, like getting a job, getting married, settling down, starting a family, things like that. And like I could see, I could see the kids, like they were soaking everything up that I was telling them, and a lot of them were horrified, at some of the stuff that I was telling them, and because, the assistant warden told me, he said, look, don't sugarcoat anything. They need to hear, they need to hear it, as it happened, as it was, and I'm like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah. So I went and done that. So that was, pretty cool. And your circle friends with the first direct. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Exactly. Like, like I was telling Lachlan, I said, why are you here? Right? I said, why are you here? And he says, because I went out and stole a car and done some things, and my friend snitched on me. And I said, there you go, bro. That's exactly what I've been telling you. They're not your real friends. They're not your true friends. You know what I mean? Because if he was a real friend, he wouldn't have snitched on you. He would have, kept it 100, and either took the rap for you or went down with you, and, he snitched on you, and now look where you are. I said, you got to remember that, and I said, a real friend, a real true loyal friend, would never ever, put you in danger or put you in jeopardy or make you go out and do something or even, put stupid ideas in your head. You know what I mean? A true friend would never do that, Look at where you are now. That should tell you a lot about who that person is. Kind of major thing. That's great advice. Thanks, Angie. Hey, Spider, thanks for joining. Hope you're doing well. I'm proud of you for staying on the right path. Thank you, Jackie. Remember what I said too, Jackie. Your son, I mean, if you need someone to talk to and need some guidance, I'm more than happy to talk to the kid. You know what I mean? That's what my dad said. If you're going to commit a crime, do it alone. No, well, that's, Jackie, I'm not going to speak ill of your father, but that's wrong advice. No father should be saying to their kid, if you do a crime, do it alone. What a father should say, for example, if I had kids, and, my kids ask me about, doing crime or anything like that, what I would say to my kids? Stay away from drugs, stay away from people that try to get you to use drugs because they're not your friends. They don't care about you. They're only looking out for themselves. You know what I mean? And no. That is not the way to do things. You know what I mean? And I would tell them, stay in school, get a good education. And I would ask my son or daughter, what do you want to be what do you want to be when you grow up? Because a lot of kids have dreams, you know, of whatever they want to be when they grow up. And if they, you know, my son or daughter says, oh, I want to be a doctor, or, you know, I want to be a fireman, or even if my son or daughter said, I want to be a cop, I want to be a copper, you know what I would say? I would say, that's great. That's great, you know. Stay in school, get a good education, and then when you leave school, you can go to the police academy and join the police academy. You know, like I would support my son and daughter and whatever, you know, and encouraging them to do that, you know. And I wouldn't say to them, you know, if you do crime, do it alone, because that sends the wrong message, you know. That sends the wrong message. Yeah, I know what you meant by you, I know, bro. But you know what I mean, like, and so that's, you know, that's my advice to them, you know. That's what I would say. Hey, Steve, how you doing? Hope all is well. You know, I would support, you know, and that's the kind of things I would say to them, you know. Um, that's just some bad advice. My son wants to be a plant scientist. Wow, that's awesome, Jackie. See, that's great. He wants to be a scientist. That is great, you know. Um, that's the right attitude to have, you know, and tell him, you know, to focus on that, you know, to focus on his dream of being a plant scientist. You know what I mean? Something, because that's obviously something he's passionate about, you know. So keep on supporting him, keep on giving him encouragement, you know, that he can do it. And you know, look, because I'm sure he's a smart, yeah, young man. You know what I mean? And he's got a good head on his shoulders with, you know, and he's got a good mum, you know, and just keep on giving him lots of encouragement and plenty of support, you know, because that's great. That is great that he wants to be a scientist when he grows up. All good, mate, at work. That's good, Jackie. My son, he started in a trade school to study painting. That's awesome, Jackie. I'm so happy to hear that. Yeah, that's good. You know, that is what I want to hear, you know. That's what I love hearing, you know, kids having dreams, you know, like what your son's doing, you know. His dream is to be a plant scientist and he's going to trade school, you know what I mean, so he can study plants and learn about them. That's great. That's what I love hearing, you know. And, you know, that's what my channel's about, you know, helping the kids, supporting the kids, you know. Even if a kid said to me, you know, like, if I said to him, you know, what's your dream job? What's your dream job? And if even he said, oh, I want to join a circus, I want to be a clown or something like that, I wouldn't, you know, give him negative advice and talk down on him or her. I would encourage him or her. You know, I would say, that's great. If that's what you want to do, if that's what you really want to do, and you know you're passionate about that, you know, I would encourage you to go ahead and to do that. You know, and if that's what you really want to do and that's what makes you happy, you know, I'm all for it. And you know, give them the big thumbs up. Nothing but respect and positive energy for you all. That's what it's about here, Steve. You know what I mean? We always you know, keep it respectful when we have, you know, keep it very, very positive here. Yeah, always, you know, give them positive advice and trying to help each other and trying to help the kids. You know, but you know something, you know, it's like, it's very sad, you know, like when I'm out and about, right, in the city, when I'm in the city and, you know, and I'm out doing stuff and I see, you know, I see a kid out there, because there's plenty of kids out there on the streets, you know, using drugs and that. And when I see a kid out there on the streets, you know, and I see that he's homeless and he's bloody, you know, looks skinny and he hasn't been eating well and stuff, I won't give him money. I will not give him money, because, you know, I don't want that, you know, kid to go and use drugs and God forbid loses his life because of me giving him money. So what I always do, I'll go and buy him a hot meal. I'll go and buy him a hot meal, you know, a nice decent hot meal, you know what I mean, and I'll get him a nice hot drink. You know what I mean? And then I'll buy them some snacks. So they've got some snacks for later. And I always go up to them and say, look, there you go, buddy. You know, him or her. You know, there you go, some food for you. You know, and no, I'm not going to give you money, and you know why. But here's some food. You know, please take this food. You know, and they're always happy to take that food. You know, and they're very grateful, because I know what it's like. I've been there where they're at. You know, I've been there and I've done that, and it totally sucks. I'll drop something soon. You encourage them to not go into the circuit. But you know, Jackie, if they want to go into the circus, that's great. You know what I mean? That's great. Because, you know, that's good. That's great that they want to go into the circus. You know what I mean? Whether they go in the circus and eventually work their way up, you know what I mean, and eventually own the circus, which is, you know, that's fantastic. Yeah, well, you know what, Jimbo? You know, like, if that's the case about your boss, bro, like, I mean, as you know, we all mess up from time to time. We all make mistakes. We all make mistakes, you know, because at the end of the day, we're human. You know what I mean? We're only human and we all make mistakes. But, you know, but it's how we come back from making those mistakes that matter. You know what I mean? And you know, not only does it matter, you know, how we come back from those mistakes, but owning your mistakes, taking responsibility for what you did. You know, and just to, you know, I don't know if you're, you know, whether you're good friends with your boss or whether it's just your boss, but you know, just try and be there for him and give him some advice. You know what I mean? And but you know, that's the only thing you can do, because there's no point trying to help someone that's on drugs if they don't want to help themselves. Because it's all well and good we can sit there and talk to them until we're blue in the face, but it's up to them to take that first step. You know what I mean? Yes, it's hard. Yes, it's not easy, but you know, you just can't give up. You can't give up. You know, and like I say all the time, I mean, even with me, I've just got to, you know, sometimes we've got to get out of our own way, because we get in our own way. You know what I mean? But just know that, you know, you know, that you're there for him and you'll support him. No, I know you're not judging him. I know you're not judging him, Jimbo. I didn't say that. You know, I didn't say that you were judging him, because I know you wouldn't judge him, you know. But, you know, it's sad, you know. It's bloody sad, but, you know, like I said, you know, we're only human and we all make mistakes. We slip up from time to time. And sometimes something in life, you know, something in our personal life that, you know, can happen, you know, and a lot of people are not good at dealing with certain things, and they don't know how to deal with certain things, you know, and they always, you know, revert back to what they always, you know, what they've always known, you know, drugs, you know, or alcohol, you know what I mean? And because they feel that, you know, when they're on drugs or, you know, drunk, that, you know, it just makes them numb and makes the problems go away, you know, but it doesn't. It just makes it worse. He's a great dude. I've known him a long time. That's cool, Jimbo. You've known him for a long time. Diddy in the house. Thanks for joining, Diddy. Hope you're doing well, brother. Sometimes just need someone to say together. Yes, that's all. That's also true, Lonnie. But that can be a good thing and that can be a bad thing. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's just get well, Jimbo. Get well and just But now, guys, I know a lot of the A.P.S fam know me, but take this opportunity. Take this opportunity while I'm still alive to shoot me some questions. Shoot me some questions. There's a lot of, not a lot, but a few new people in the A.P.S family now. So go ahead, drop some questions. You know what I mean? Ask me anything, and I'll sure do answer that. Jim back, I'll kill my uncle way quicker than the other drugs. She figures I'll be good and under control. Yeah, I tell you what, I sure understand, been through it. Hey, yeah, that's right. I need to get together and try. Yep, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Exactly. But yeah, like I was saying before, fam, I'm sure there's some things that you want to ask me or things that you want to know. Go ahead and drop a comment, and as long as it's nothing crazy. Sometimes, sometimes people just need a break, Sometimes people need a break and just to get away, you know what I mean? Because the thing about us guys, when there's shit going on in our life, you know what I mean, and we don't talk about it. We keep it to ourselves, Us guys keep it to ourselves, and it bottles up and bottles up, and then we just it gets to a point where we get so overwhelmed and shit just explodes. And a lot of the times why that happens is because of our pride. Our pride gets in our way, you know what I mean? But we just got to fucking push that aside, you know what I mean? You got to call me. You appreciate. Yeah, hell yeah, Jimbo. Struggle myself, but just bury it like a dummy. Huh. You know what, fam? You know something that that I would love to try, because I want to get over my fear of heights. I want to get over my fear of heights, and I'm thinking about going skydiving. But you know what? I tell you what bloody scares me about skydiving. And I think to myself, well, knowing the bloody luck that I got, pull the bloody cord of the parachute, and the damn parachute doesn't go up. That'll just be my damn luck. Sparky, there he is. Doing Sparky, thanks for dropping in, bro. Jimbo, you know what, bro? You can always DM me on Instagram. You can always talk to me, Jimbo. You know what I mean? You can always talk to me, brother. Most definitely. Janice, there she is. Hi, Janice. Hope you're doing well, fam. Great to see you. Oh, yeah, I've just got finished. My end of the day, dog jaws. Okay, cool. Yeah, but that's what I think, I love to go skydiving, but that's one thing that scares the hell out of me. No, my damn luck, pull the cord and the damn parachute it doesn't bloody open. And then my ass will totally be screwed. Bloody hell. That would be just my luck, The skydiving instructor pulls the cord and he goes, Adam, we got a problem. The parachute's not going up. And I'll be going, yeah, no effing shit, we got an effing problem. We're about to be bloody spluttered on the ground. Oh, God. That would be absolutely crazy. You're tired, are you, Janice? Yeah, I bet you, because you've been doing your dog chores and running around doing a lot of things all day, fam. And I appreciate you dropping in, Janice, I really appreciate that. BMF Ranger. BMF Ranger, another newie. Thanks for dropping in, BMF Ranger. Ranger observer, planes, helicopters. Oh, wow. That's crazy. Yeah, welcome, BMF Ranger. Welcome to the A.P.S family. Thank you for dropping in. The sudden stop. Yeah, that's right. It's a sudden stop, all right. Sudden stop, and then it's all over. Do you guys have cassette tape players or CD players? Yeah, we got CD players, AZ. We got CD players, but we used to have cassette tapes. In the 80s and 90s, we had cassette tapes, but now they're like antiques. Cassette tapes and cassette tape players are bloody antique items these days. Do you have freedom of speech in Australia? No, we don't. You got to be very careful what you say here, especially when it's about politicians and the government figures, or you got to be really, really careful what you say here. Otherwise, your ass ends up in bloody jail. They're so bloody paranoid. I have a plan for my general advantage on the conversation with the people awkward. Hell yeah, Lonnie. I won't go up in the air, period. I don't do the ocean either. Yeah, I don't go for a swim in the ocean either, Janice. You know why? Because, knowing the bloody luck that I got, like if I'm going for a swim in the bloody ocean, I'll probably get, chomped up by a shark or something. But that's the only, that's always goes through my mind, like when at the beach and I'm standing there on the sand and I'm tempted to go in the water and I think to myself, I bet you there's a shark swimming around now just, looking at me, thinking to himself, yeah, get your fat ass in here, you'll be a good snack. He's not snacking on my ass. Hell no. Actually, that didn't sound right, did it? Oh, fucking hell. Oh, I'm too much. For real, we have CD players. Oh, wow, AZ. I love that. Lonnie's going to be great. Yeah, Lonnie's channel is going to be great, most definitely. I was determined not to miss this. Thank you, Janice. I really appreciate you, fam. I've been subscribed for a while, just haven't caught it live. Okay, that's what's up, BMF Ranger. I appreciate that. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. Much love and respect. You obviously know Rick from Vegas Prison Stories. He's another one that's like my brother from another mother. Great live, Adam. You're doing great, man. I'm proud of you. Keep grinding, brother. Thank you, Jimbo. That's what's up, brother. I've got 13 people in my live. 13 people in my live. That's awesome. Don't forget to smash that like button. Can somebody tell me how many likes that I've got? Because I can't see the likes. If there's less than 13 likes, please smash that bloody like button like you're smashing a chomo on the yard. Come on, fam, smash that bloody like button like you're smashing a chomo on the yard. No, July. Pre-recorded my position. Yeah, that's what's up, Lonnie. Yeah, do lives, bro. That'll be awesome. You know I'll be there and everyone else will be there to support you. You guys have too many great white sharks in Australia. Oh, I'll never get in them waters. Yeah, that's right. You know what? Your ass is screwed either way because you go for a swim in the ocean, you're likely to get chomped by a great white shark, and then if you go for a swim in the fucking freshwater lake, your ass is likely to get chomped by a big ass crocodile. So either way, your ass is screwed. You can't win. I've always wanted to surf in Australia. Yeah, well, AZ, I don't think that's a good idea, bro. With them freaking great white sharks. A guy got taken by a great white shark not long ago. You know, people filmed him. You know, this great white shark bit him in half. Bit him in half, and then swam around, and then came back and got him again. Because you know what? You know what people forget, right? People don't know this either. You know where in the ocean, every ocean, right? You've got a section of the beach there where there's rocks, where you've got all the rocks, right? Well, 10 meters from the rocks, that is the shark's killing zone. That's called as the killing zone, right? And that's why this guy got taken by the great white shark, because he was in the 10-meter killing zone, right? If you're in that 10-meter killing zone, your ass is screwed. But if you're not in that killing zone, you know, you've got more of a chance of not being chomped by a great white shark. Twenty-one likes, eh? 21 likes. There's only 13 people in here. That's crazy. I don't know. There must have been 21 people in here and they left. 24 likes now. That's crazy. I can only see 13 people here, and it says that I've got 13 people in here. But I've obviously got a lot more. That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Janice. 17. Okay, cool. And on land, you get beat up by a kangaroo. Yeah, that's right, Jimbo. And on land, your ass will get beat up. You know, your ass will get beat up by a bloody kangaroo, red kangaroo. Or, you know, if it's not that, you got to be careful when you're in the bush, because if, you know, we've got a red-bellied black snake. Red-bellied black snakes are really, really venomous and dangerous. And if you get bitten by a red-bellied black snake when you're in the bush, well, you might as well kiss your ass goodbye. Miss Justice. How you doing, Miss Justice? Thank you for joining. Got 20 likes now. God, I don't know what. I'm fucking confused. I can't keep up. But there is a few likes there, so that's good. You guys have too many vicious animals, LOL. Hey, what can I say? Australia is the best country. Australia is the best country in the world. We've got the most beautifulest country in the world. We've got the best animals in the world. You know what I mean? I'm a very, very proud Aussie. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. Oi, oi, oi. Lame-o. Look, people are probably jumping on me live. They see me for the first time and going, who the hell is this lame-o? I'm out of here. Oh, God. That's them along the South Atlantic coast. Yeah, that's right, Janice. 100%. I found a blue rings at my local beach. Yeah, you gotta watch them. You gotta watch them. They're bloody deadly. They sting the hell out of you. Invaders, people come and try to make it better. Yep. Says 26 likes now. 26 likes and 11 people in here. That's fucking crazy. That's awesome. I was wondering the same thing. Well, that's crazy, but there's a time you can get through, right? Like a certain time. Yeah, that's right. I tell you when the worst time to go swimming in the beach is summertime. Because summertime, that's when there's a lot of sharks and shit out there, right? But in winter is the best time to go fucking swimming, bro, because not only is there not many people on the beach at all, but it's a lot more safer, you know what I mean? Because the waters are too cold and the sharks like to go somewhere where the waters are a bit warmer. Thanks, Steve. Thanks, everyone, for letting me know. I don't have to be over for it. Thanks for joining, Jimbo. Go and get some rest, brother. Much love and respect. You got the best shark bite in the world. Best shark, yeah, that's spider. Bloody vicious things, mate, them great white sharks. They're bloody massive too, them great white sharks. Miss Justice says, I live on cougar and bear territory in Canada. Yeah, that's right, in Canada, Miss Justice. That's what you guys have got to worry about, huh? The cougars and the bears. They're real sneaky too, them cougars. Them cougars sneak up on you. You don't know the cougars, the only way you'll know that the cougar is bloody stalking you is when it bloody, jumps on you. And by that time, it's fucking too late. That's Manilani being pushed over from a grade 2. Yeah, I know, they don't mess around, them kangaroos, do they? Any shark bites all I have to do. Janice. Them shark bites all I have to do plumbing. That's funny. I trained with the Australian Army at Wales. We drink a lot of Victoria bitter beer. Yeah, you know what? VB, that's what it's known here. That's what we call it here in Australia, right? BMF Ranger. We call it VB, and VB is one of the most popular beers here in Australia. A lot of people drink VB, Victoria bitter. I gave you 2 likes again. Come on, Lonnie, stop capping. You know you can only hit the like button once. Stop capping, cheeky bugger. You know I love you, bro. I say fought side by side with them in Iraq. You know what, Ranger? Yes, we fight side by side all the time. American and Australian troops always, we've always been good friends and fought side by side. And Ranger, I want to say thank you for your service. Thank you for your service, Ranger. I'm glad you made it back home safely. I followed you on TikTok, Adam. I followed you on TikTok too. Waiting on your dancing video. Thanks, Lonnie, for following me on TikTok. But no, you won't be seeing me dancing on YouTube, on TikTok. You won't be seeing me dancing on bloody TikTok and bloody looking like an idiot. You're not going to be seeing me fucking there dancing. No way in hell. Maybe if I was really drunk, but even then I don't know if that'll happen. No, that's funny. I'm in a Facebook group that has tracking. That's the white animals, including young. Oh, well. Hey, Miss Justice, can you send me an invite? Can you send me an invite to that group? I'd like to join that group. Yeah, women can creep up quick. Watch them cougars. Jimbo. Watch them cougars. That's all right. Cougars can sneak up on me any day. Cougars can jump on me. And they can do whatever they like to me. I love cougar. I love me a cougar. My bad. You know me, fam. I'm too straightforward sometimes. Oh, God. Hilarious. Now I give you a lot. Yeah. Did you not think you, Lonnie? I thought you were just being a cheeky bugger. Thank you. My respects to you, brother. You're welcome, Ranger. You know something, Ranger? One thing that I've always had, a lot of love and a lot of respect for our men and women, of our armed forces that have served their country. I have tremendous respect for them. And my grandfather, my great grandfather, he fought in World War One, brother. He fought in World War One. So yeah, I got a lot of mad love and respect for our men and women of our armed forces. All them brave men that laid their life down, and thanks to them brave men have, lost their life, their life down, laid their life down, and, lost their life, for us, so we can have the freedom that we have today. And we should, be very, very thankful, very thankful, for them brave men that laid their life down for us to have the freedoms that we do today. Victoria, the home of beer. Yep, sure is, Steve. I don't tick or talk. Miss Justice. I don't give out my real name from Facebook. No, neither do I. It's all good, Miss Justice. I don't need to know your real name. I'm thinking about leaving TikTok. You know why I'm thinking about leaving TikTok? I guess that makes me John's cougar. Janice. World War One. Wow. Yeah. My great grandfather served in World War One, brother, and lost his life. He lost his life there in Gallipoli. I have a cougar. What? Be real honest, brother. I thought like I to come home. That's it. Yes, I respect you, Ranger. I respect you, and I take my hat off to you, bro, for serving. I salute you. Thank you for your service, brother. What do we got here? River Senor. It's all right, Miss Justice. It's okay. It's not important, like I said, It's all right. It's all good. I don't like giving out my real name either. Why do you think I tell everyone, my name's Adam? Because I don't give out, a lot of my name. A lot of people just know me as, Australian Prison Stories, A.P.S. Bloody Lonnie. You can't help yourself, that Lonnie. Oh, God. In a firefight, it is all about you and your brothers trying to stay alive. Yeah, that's right, Ranger. It is all about you and your brothers, fighting to stay alive, You're 100% right about that, brother. 100%. And like I said, I salute you, bro. And I'm just glad, I'm glad you made it home safely. Thank the Lord that he brought you home safely. I'm always talking some bullshit. When I make everyone laugh. Yeah, that's what it's all about, Lonnie. It's all about making each other laugh and chopping it up with each other and having, enjoying each other's company, and you know what I mean. That's why what do you think? I do more live now than than I do uploading videos, because I love laughing with you guys, chopping it up, making you guys feel good. Too many trolls. Yeah, I know, Miss Justice. But that's just the unfortunate thing, with social media. There's a lot of trolls, but it just goes with the territory, unfortunately. But one thing I've learned to do, because the A.P.S Fam have helped me with this, I've learned to just ignore them. Just ignore them. My respects to you. Thank you, my brother. Thank you, Ranger. Thank you, mate. That's right, Adam. Get them looking to the future. Yes, that's right, Angie. That's right. Exactly, fam. Get them looking to the future. That's what it's all about, I try to help as many people as I can, and I try to do the best I can to help people. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm no angel. Yeah, I'm no angel, and I don't. One thing that you'll never see with me, A.P.S Fam, you'll never see me here on YouTube. Carrying on like I'm the toughest guy in the world. I'm the most badass guy in the world. I'll never do that. You know what I mean? I'm a humble, laid back guy. I'm a humble, laid back guy. You know what I mean? But what's sad? I love to help people, but because of the world that we live in, because of the world that we live in these days, a lot of people take your kindness for weakness. They take your kindness for weakness, and that's why I say to people, don't get it twisted. Don't get my looks, don't let my looks fool you or get it twisted, They're thinking that because I'm kind, I like to help people, that, I wasn't about that life, because all you got to do is just do some research about me, or ask people that have been to prison with me or know me from my past life, and I'll tell you how I was. Learn to love and laugh. Yeah, that's right. You know what? Life, I mean, I have this saying, right? I have this saying as to where I say, we're not here for a long time, we're here for a good time, And the other thing that I say is, right, you got to make the most of every day, right? You got to make the most of every day, you know what I mean? And be happy, right? Love people, you know what I mean? Love people, like laugh, enjoy people's company, because you never know when your time's up. You never know when the big man upstairs is going to call your name, and that's why I, also stress all the time in my videos, to all the A.P.S Fam, please do not walk out that door, before you've given your significant other a kiss, or family member, don't walk out that door unless you've given them a kiss and a hug and let them know that you love them. You know what I mean? That's very important, because you just never know when your time's up. Yeah, I don't stick my chest there. I love them. Be good. Yeah, that's right. Plugzilla, New Age Plug. I know that's you. Thanks for dropping back in. Yeah, good. Fancy, if it's okay, can you put up a link? Let's go down. Yeah. Hey, Angie, go ahead and drop your link. Go ahead and drop your link, Ange, so BMF Ranger can subscribe to you. Are you, Angie? Are you a mod? Are you a moderator? Have you got a wrench, Angie? If you haven't got a wrench, I'll give you a wrench when I get off here. Can you bring some of your former guys you were in prison with on here? Yeah, I'm trying to do that, bro. I'm trying to do that, but a lot of them, you know, they don't like cameras and they're worried about bringing themselves undone. But they know that I'll protect them. You know, if I've got to hide their identity or something like that. But I'm trying to do that. You know what I mean? I'm trying to do that, Whitey. So just, you know, bear with me, brother. I'm working on it. Doing my best, you know. Just going outside for a cigarette, fam. Let me turn this around. There we go. Oh, shit. God, I'm getting old, fam. I'm fucking getting old. Is that the link for your channel, Lonnie? Cool. Cool, bro. I understand. Thanks, Whitey. Thanks for dropping in too, bro. And I've never seen you here before either, Whitey. Thanks for dropping in, brother. I appreciate you. Welcome to the family, brother. That's Angie's channel? Okay, cool. There you go there, brother. There's the link. BMF Ranger. There's a link right there for Angie's channel. I'll leave it up there, and when you subscribe, Ranger, let me know, and I'll take it down. Angie has got a wrench. Okay, cool. I thought she did. I couldn't quite remember. Thank you, Lonnie. Oh, guys, when I get off here soon, Gangish, as you can see right there, Gangish on the screen there, he's going to be going live. He's going to be going live after I finish my live. So please jump over there and check out Gangish's live. And if you're not, you know, subscribed to Gangish, please hit that subscribe button, like button, all that good stuff. And most of, you know, for Whitey, BMF Ranger, and, you know, all the other new ones that are in here, a lot of the people that are in the chat now are YouTubers like myself, you know, except for Janice and a couple others. You know, please go over there, subscribe to them, hit that bell and all, you know, like, comment, all that good stuff. They're good people and have good content. Thank you, Ranger. That's what's up. Angie appreciates that. And on behalf of Angie, thank you. Frank's got his storage on cam. Okay. Thanks for letting me know, Ranger. I appreciate that. And there's the thanks again, Lonnie. That's the link for Gangish's channel. See, this is what I've got my mods on here for, you know. Why, making people mods so they can help me out with this stuff. So that way I can just concentrate on my live and chop it up with you guys and let my mods put the link up. Thanks, Spider. I appreciate that. Got to get going. Get some more work done. Thank you for dropping in, Kathy. Please stay safe, fam, and I look forward to seeing you again real soon. And you know, I'll send you a message later on TikTok. Wesley is a good brother. Everyone, Wesley Mitchell here, as you can see in the chat, is another good man that I have a lot of mad love and respect for. You know, he showed me nothing but love and support and been very respectful, as, you know, all you guys. You know, and, oh, that's what I was going to ask you guys. I love hearing, you know, the A.P.S Fam's suggestions. Give me suggestions on videos that you would like me to do. It can be about prison, it can be about the streets, it can be about Australia, it can be anything. Just drop some suggestions and let me know, and I'm going to write them down. Write them down and work out which ones to do. Prison workout videos. Yeah, well, my fat ass needs to get bloody in shape again. That's a good idea, Spider. Some prison workout videos. I'm going to write that down too. Guys, I'm going to end this live. I'm going to end this live in a few seconds. You got any more? If you got anyone else who got any suggestions, now's the time to drop it. I'll give it a few more secs and see if anyone drops any more suggestions. No, I wasn't, Lonnie. I was in prison. When we had the Sydney Olympics here, Sydney Olympics in 2000, I was in prison, brother. All right, y'all. I appreciate the A.P.S Fam dropping in. I'm going to end this live now. Register account, so you don't have to go back and forth. Yes, I'm going to give you a wrench when I get off here, brother. I gotcha. I'll give you a wrench when I get off here, bro. Okay, everyone. Thanks for dropping in, A.P.S Fam. I'm going to jump off here. I've got some shit to do. It's been great chopping it up with everyone. And take care. Stay safe. I love you all very much. Much love and respect, fam. Bye for now. Peace.